Leaving Again, Chapter 71, 4th of February 1996. Our visas expire too soon, and we head out from Rangoon on our way back to Canada via Singapore. As we approach the airport, right at the entrance, we see a large sign saying, "Visit Myanmar 96," and a list of services available, and then we see a larger-than-large sign advertising Dunhill cigarettes. Smoothness above all, 555. As we sit and wait in the transit lounge, my eyes and ears are drawn to the television set on a stand that is loudly advertising Benson and Hedges cigarettes. Then another scene pops up on the screen, and I see a replay of last year's Tagula, the water festival. Standing on slowly moving decorated cars and trucks are pretty young girls dressed in bright yellow, squirting water with hoses onto bystanders and throwing free cigarettes to the public. And I am suddenly transported back to the telling contrast of another Tagula. It was in April, in the hot, dry season, when the tar that paved the streets in Rangoon and other lowland towns turned gooey and stuck to the soles of one's shoes, and when we had an influx of visitors to Kalor who attempted to escape the heat for our cooler climate. But for us who are natives of the area, the days were warm enough to participate in the water festival. That particular year, a group of young people on their return from the Ponji Chow nearby ran into our garden carrying silver bowls of rose water, and I still remember their smiling faces as they happily sprinkled the water on us. It was interesting to see how this joyous festival had been craftily incorporated into the advertising of cigarettes. Strict anti-smoking regulations in the West, where packages of cigarettes are forced to carry information about the dangers of smoking, have hurt the tobacco industry. But now opportunities have opened up in the third world to whet the appetites of those with pecuniary interests and no social conscience. And smoke gets in my eyes as I think about my country, open now and vulnerable, as Japanese and Chinese companies, as well as British American tobacco, jump into the markets that are opening up. They will provide badly needed funds to help set up plants, create jobs, and even set up scholarships, other irresistible incentives. With no restraints on advertising and limited resources for proper education, the young are easy targets for this addictive substance. In the face of this giant menace, which has eons of expertise in manipulation of the human mind, the lone voices of those dedicated to the health of the people cannot win. And as if to demonstrate, an extremely thin man behind us in the lounge starts smoking. He coughs. We move. Petite, silk-air ground hostesses, dressed in short, sleek navy blue skirts and lighter-colored jackets, wearing stiletto-heeled black shoes, make announcements in stilted English. Are they more elegant than if dressed in their own clothes and appear as caricatures of the West? We arrive in Singapore into a day room to catch up on lost sleep. We see a grey-cloaked monk, either Chinese or Korean Buddhist, because unlike the Theravada Buddhist Ponjis of Burma, who wear saffron robes, this monk was wearing beautifully stitched clothing. I would deign follow him and style my clothes according to his, with loops and cloth buttons along the long, deep slits on either side. Finally, we enter the overly warm tail end of the plane, and pressure builds up about my head and eyes as I lean back into the seat with headrests too high to fit oriental necks. Then up into the air again, and Singapore lies like dregs of green tea in a bowl of aqua, with darker stains below the water of seaweed colonies. Above the sharp-based white fluffy clouds, I look down at the earth, a glass bowl, a clearly defined surface of outer glass, and moving away from sunrise toward the night of the dateline on another shore. Briefly, momentarily, the underside of one wing ignites with a fading henna flame. In my dream state, I have learned to love Canada's rough, wide terrain of rock and pine, rivers, lakes, and mountains stretching from the Atlantic to the Pacific Ocean. I recall the weeks it took before I could hold within my comprehension the wide expanse of earth and sky of the prairies, and my disbelief that the colors in a painting of the trees in fall were real, till I drove through Ontario one autumn. I remember, too, standing at the window the first cold winter, watching in wonder as the sun's early morning light caught the moisture in the air and turned it into sparkling silver dust. While not to be outdone, the clinging hoar frost on branch and twig and tree etched white on white in feathered velvet strokes on blank lyrex. And on the western shore, I saw on eagle wings, above the deep dark forests where the trees stand tall like old brooding giants contemplating the Pacific, who once like naughty boys slid down the rocky banisters to splash into the ocean, but stopped short, mesmerized forever by their own reflection. They put up fences, but who can stop the wind that blows and wings the seeds that do not choose where flowers bloom?